gaming isn't fun anymore.
Yep, and this is by Ciggy Snake.
If you were to look at the video game industry of today, you might think gaming is in a golden age. Video games have never been more popular.
It is it's not a golden age, but it is better than what it was only because of the amount of money that can be made through it makes more and more people who may not have considered gaming to be like something they're interested in putting their time into. Actually something like, oh, well, we can actually make money off of this, so let's actually try to do something. Now, obviously, I do think it's actually in one of the it's in this weird place where it's in both the best and the worst place it can be, only because of how unregulated the microtransactions have been.
Professional gaming is a growing and respected sport, and game publishers see
No, it's
record
not.
profits year after.
Well, it's more than what it used to be, but even now, like, I don't think a lot of people, like, if you tell them, oh, I'm going to be a pro gamer, it's just like, oh, okay. Like telling someone you're going to be an actress. Like, oh, well, best of luck. Like, I don't know how far you'll make it.
After year. This surface level success, however, conceals many of the core issues
Well, actress or actor. Like, doesn't matter.
plaguing modern games.
I'm gonna keep it real.
Good place to pause it.
Yeah, that is true, huh? We have Dark and Darker. This is like shit that I played in the last year. We have Elden Ring.
Yep.
I was
Lost
gonna
Ark.
say Lost Ark, but I
But
feel
no.
like that one would probably be part of this video.
To be fair, Lost Ark gameplay, though, is just insanely good.
You have Hades, New World. What else? We have Valheim, Vampire Survivors. I feel like we've had a lot of really good games come out recently.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not all doom and gloom about gaming, but I feel like if you don't step outside of the mainstream, you probably think gaming is the worst thing that's ever happened. That's what I think. New World, nah, New World is a good game. You buy the game, there's no pay to win, there's like
Yep.
optional fucking cosmetics.
Other than like the lack of content and bugs when it first released, like New World is like a really solid game.
Microtransactions, there's no pay for convenience. You buy the game, it's continuously fucking developed. You can say you don't like the game, totally fine, but do not put it in the same category as Diablo Immortal.
Monetization, egregious laziness,
Very true.
and a total lack of passion or vision. In terms of quality and actual care put into games, modern gaming has been on a consistent decline for close to a decade now.
To a degree, yes, but it's because they can get away with it a lot of times. Like, you couldn't really do that before because live service wasn't a thing. You couldn't like get DLC and update your game. So that's why it didn't really release all buggy. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like this guy lives like in a rose-tinted world where like games are now worse. It's like, dude, like, yes, games are worse, but they're also better. I mean, look at the new God of War. Like, if that kind of game released back when like DLC and updating games wasn't a thing, that would blow people's minds. Like, it would be absolutely insane. And same with like games like Elden Ring. Elden Ring, I don't think people could even like compute like how vast the game is like just 10 years ago.
From predatory microtransactions to
For a
broken,
single like
unoriginal
RPG,
games,
single
with the
player.
current drought of new and interesting IPs, gaming has been reduced from a form of entertainment.
It's boring, I think, that there's not a bunch of like, oh, that's the Lost Vikings. I had that one. It's boring how like people don't want to make as many new IPs. And like maybe it's always been like this, but I feel like every time something new comes out that's
I don't think it's that they don't want to make new IPs. I mean, because I think to be fair, like it's when gaming was first coming out, everything was a new IP, right? You didn't have a choice. But there's been plenty of games that like once they nailed a good game, they like stuck with the IP. Halo, Final Fantasy, um, Dark Souls to an extent, in a way. And what is it? Like there's just plenty of games like that.
it's like a big title. It's always something that's already been out, but it's got a 2 next to it.
Entertainment and artistry to a corporatized money-making venture. As someone who's been into gaming for the vast majority of my life, As someone who genuinely appreciates the passion
That is weird looking.
and artistry
Is that like a broccoli? Like, what is that? Radish?
present in games, this mass corporatization and denigration of the
What is this, Salvador Dali, the game? The fuck is this?
Flesh and Will.
Like, like this
The
is some
HP?
weird ass shit.
medium
Yeah.
is depressing at best and infinitely vexing at worst. I know I'm not alone in this stance either.
Hilux.
The countless failures and disappointments
To be fair with Cyberpunk, like, it's actually a really good game now. So,
of the modern games industry has left most gamers tired and frustrated.
Yeah.
To that
I mean, to be fair, that's like 53 upvotes for 2 years ago. It's
end, I want to chart the slow descent of this once great industry, look at where it's heading, and what we should do in response.
We should shit on our own hand and then smear it all over yourself and then tell Blizzard that you're not going to buy any more battle passes and delete your battle.net account. That's what you have to do. That's the only thing that'll stop them. Yeah, true. Somebody's got to say it.
Before we can discuss the dismal state of modern gaming, I want to first look at the era which preceded it, along with what made it unique. I think few would argue that the mid-90s to late 2000s was a true golden age of gaming, and for a number of reasons. While the actual quality of
I feel like, you know what the last good game was? In like that era? Halo 3. I feel like
I don't know that I don't remember the timelines for games, so I'm not going to say which one was the last
after
one.
Halo 3, things were like, but like before then, everything was good. Time Splitters 2, bro, that was like 2002.
But it's also like for every one of these games, there was like 10 that were just trash that he doesn't even bring up, I bet.
That was GameCube. Halo 3. And Halo 3 was like the last S-tier game that had none of this shit, not even anything close to it. And then after that,
I see what you're saying.
the horse armor started coming in. That's whenever the DLC started coming in. Half-Life 2? Bitch, Half-Life 2 came out in 2004. Halo 2 came out in 2004.
That's funny.
Period can't be understated and will be discussed.
Get
One
your
of the
numbers
biggest factors in this golden age was the state of gaming in the broader games industry. Gaming was considered a more nerdy or unusual hobby back then. You weren't getting
Still
bullied at
kinda
school
is.
for not having the latest Fortnite skin, but for
I never got bullied at school for playing video games. Like, I'm gonna be
Me
honest.
either.
Like, that shit never.
Like everyone I knew played video games, even like the so-called popular kids. So I don't know.
That happened to you guys? Like that never fucking. Like I'm 32, right? So I went to school in the 90s and the 2000s. This never fucking happened.
I think the ones that
playing
kind
video
of got
games in the first
bullied were like the anime guys, only because they were doing like some cringe stuff at school. Like they would be like acting out like scenes from animes, and it's like it'd be different if you were talking about the anime, but you're literally acting it out like you're the main character. So other than that, like I can't think of anyone who like really got bullied for like nerdy stuff.
place. This relative unpopularity meant
Because
that
even
the games
D&D
industry
wasn't
was
like
just a
considered that
fraction of its
bad.
current size. Conversely, game developers and publishers were much more numerous back then. Various small and independent groups all competed in the open gaming market, and you'd either sink or swim depending on the quality of your games.
Yeah.
While many studios sunk, those that swam were handsomely rewarded, and typically redoubled their efforts for their next project.
Okay, so you kind of went over it real quick. Many of them sunk. Yeah, because they released bad games, which is still a thing.
Furthermore, these small studios were often staffed and led by dedicated gamers and enthusiasts. This naturally leads to much greater passion and care put into the games they produced. Take, for example, Bungie back in the early 2000s. Their singular goal when producing the Halo trilogy was to make the best, most enjoyable game possible, and it shows in their outlook.
Yeah, that'd be alright.
The difference between good enough and awesome is
By that logic, though, you're saying like every other game that was bad was because the developers did not want to make a good game, did not want to make like the best game they could, which I just don't think is true.
so big, and I mean, there's this standard set by everyone here that, I mean, good enough sucks. You can't do good enough. it's a hard kind of thing to live up to, but it's I mean, the game's going to be better for it.
We are the most cynical.
And you got to keep in mind, like back in the day, people couldn't go and like patch a game in. Like that, like back
Exactly.
Like, and like this, I think this kind of changed like at like Xbox and like 360. But like, if your game shipped with a bug, your game was shit with a bug, and that's it.
Yep.
Well, like we are the jaded crowd who, if a game doesn't entertain us in 5 minutes, we stop playing it.
The passion you see here is honestly commendable, and was something found in abundance both at Bungie and the broader games industry.
The worst thing about this, I think, is that there's a lot of guys that probably still work at Bungie and other studios like that feel exactly the way that these guys do. But the problem is that there are these production machines that create deadlines that make it to where they're not able to produce a quality product.
Absolutely. That and a lot of the monetization choices are not done by the developers themselves.
Like, I actually think that most people that develop video games are actually trying to make a game that's as good as Halo 3.
Or Elden Ring.
I don't think anybody goes into video game development and sits through 80 hours of crunch time just to release a game that's trash.
Yep. Like when Anthem released, man, like that game had so much potential. If they gave it just 1 year, maybe even longer, like it was just so much fun. Like it really, really annoys me that like such a game, like that game could have been like one of the greats if corporate would get the hell out of the game development. Like I understand they kind of have to be there because you can't have like game developers who just don't ever release a game. That's why the whole development hell is a thing. But at the same time, like they shouldn't be there like setting deadlines. It should be the developer saying like, look, this is what we can get done in this time frame. And if we want the game to be good, we're going to need more time.
I don't believe that. Now, I think that sometimes they're misguided. Sometimes they make mistakes. It's like, oh, this mechanic
Oh yeah,
sucks,
but it's never like
but
intentional.
They're passionate about doing something that they think is good.
Yep.
And sometimes there's only, like the game's got to be out before Christmas. Yep.
And I think like Blizzard even kind of suffered from that, where it's like they were passionate about the game, but the ones making like the decisions weren't paying attention to the player base and were just basing it off of themselves and like thinking they were right.
In addition to having an industry clearly committed to quality, the technological development seen in the 5th, 6th, and 7th generations dramatically expanded what could be done with video games.
That's true.
This is perhaps best demonstrated by the transition from 2D...
This was my game, man. I grew up playing this game. This was, oh my god.
Played it all the time, yeah.
I would play this game with my mom back in the day. It took me like 4 years to beat this game. I'm not even kidding you. Like, I was so fucking into it.
It's funny when Asman talks about like playing games with his mom. Like, I think about my mom. Like, she always said, it's so funny how she says, she's like, oh, he's playing with the toys and the TV. I think is how she phrased it. She did not understand video games at all.
And
it was funny.
Yeah, I would play that shit all the time. I remember the game would reset, and I learned how to speedrun this game in like 1996 because I could go through the first 3 temples in like an hour and just get back to the fucking Dark World. Man, I would give...
That is actually really quick.
I would give anything to go back to like 1997. Like, I remember I talked to my mom about this game at church. Straight up. Be like, yo, we gonna play some Zelda after this shit? You gotta take me to Burger King.
To 3D, swapping pixels for polygons. An additional dimension not only enabled new and interesting forms of gameplay, but allowed for beautiful art styles and actually realistic graphics. These are your Killer 7s for the former, and Re-4s for the latter. The size and scope of the game also increased substantially in this time period, going from megabytes in size to gigabytes.
Yeah.
Whereas games on cartridges had to make best use of very limited real estate, CDs allowed for about as much game as you wanted, and at then modern graphics. Finally, internet access had reached...
Also, you gotta keep in mind, like, PlayStation 3, how much was that on release? It was like $600-700 because it had Blu-ray on it. It was like one of the only...
Something like that, yeah.
One of the only things that had Blu-ray. $600, yeah. Like, I remember whenever it came out, nobody wanted a PlayStation because it was too expensive.
Yep,
like,
I remember that too.
A 360.
Of millions, even billions by this time period, meaning games no longer had to be primarily single-player or couch co-op titles.
Just hit him, assassinate
In short, the games industry not only had the technology to make new and engaging games, but the will and passion to do so. And I feel the results truly speak for themselves.
Yep. I never played any Grand Theft Auto all the way through.
I don't know if Grand Theft Auto was a good one to even bring up, because the new Grand Theft Auto, like, it's actually pretty crazy in depth, especially like the modding scene. So I don't know if I agree with him on like that part of it. Okami, Sonic.
Oh, I played the fuck out of this game.
Yep.
Sonic Adventure 2
as the
Battle.
name implies, a pretty good
I
time.
love this.
I simply put,
Yeah, that was like one of my favorite games of all time.
Gamers were spoiled for choice in the 90s and 2000s. While shovelware and cheap cash grabs
I don't think I've
were a
played
thing,
this one.
you
That
had
looks
an
weird.
absolute smorgasbord of quality titles to choose from, no matter what you were looking for. If you wanted to play something like...
But I feel like nowadays, like before we go into the doom and gloom, I feel like nowadays there are a lot of really good games out right now.
There are.
Like there
Absolutely.
are. I actually think so. Like I genuinely believe that there are a good amount of games that are out that are actually fun to play.
Your own.
Name 5. Okay. What are the restrictions? Like games without like I mean like okay, obviously one is gonna be
Elden Ring,
right?
Yep.
One is gonna be Elden Ring, but we have good games. Yeah, because it's like I mean I would say I would put Valorant on the list. I would put Valheim on the list. I would put Vampire Survivors on the list. But like, are we talking AAA games? Like, would you put Doom 2016, 2018 on the list? Like
Doom Eternal.
I've seen, I would say yes. You put God of War on the list. There you go. What about like Demon Souls, the new remake of that? I feel like that one's really fucking good. Devil May Cry 5, that one's fucking insane. Yeah, there are a lot of really good games now. Like
Would definitely agree.
Wild. Yeah, there's that one. Like, damn, V Rising. Yeah, V Rising. That's another one. That's like Vampire Valheim.
Just pop in Tony Hawk or literally anything from Nintendo at the time.
I want to go back and play every Zelda game that I missed out on. I stopped. I never finished Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. And I never finished anything after Wind Waker because I thought the style of the game was stupid.
Oh, so he'd even play Twilight Princess and Breath of the Wild, and like pretty much everything after. Yeah, Wind Waker, at first I did what he did. I stopped because I was like, oh, this is kind of dumb. But I remember my cousin, who was really, really big Zelda fan, was telling me, like, it's an awesome game. You gotta finish it. So I went back and I'm like, oh, wow. Like, there's so much to this game I was not expecting. It was a really, really good game.
I want to go back and play every single one.
Yeah.
Were over, you had Halo or Mario Kart to rage at and laugh over. And if you wanted to meet cool new people on the wide world of web, WoW was still relevant.
Yeah, it was.
And not terrible.
Man, fuck you.
Gaming as a whole was just fun. People treated it as an enjoyable, exciting hobby. You'd hear from a friend that the new Scrimbo Bimblo slaps.
No, but it is getting better.
And have a good time.
Dude, people think this game was good. Like, it, for its time, maybe. But if you go back and play it, I hate this game so much.
Gamers had hope in the industry. And while expectations weren't always met and missteps were had, it was good for a time.
Damn, let me pause this. I just want to look at it.
Is that a LAN party? Oh, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. What is this? Is this a convention?
That's like one of the old. That's like the newer version of Super Nintendo. That's original Super. That's original Nintendo. That's a. Oh my God, that's not the one? But like I remember you would plug like you'd have the Sonic and Knuckles, and you would plug Sonic 3 into it in order to play the extra characters on the Genesis. Oh man. Wow, I love these pictures.
Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end.
Yeah.
The Roman Empire experienced unmatched prosperity and security for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Before its slow and pitiful death in the 5th century.
You know what? Like, Roman Empire is actually very similar to gaming because it weren't 90% of the people in the Roman Empire slaves. And if you use slaves as a metaphor, like 90% of people in gaming now are free to play. And so like you could think of the free to play players as the slaves, and you could think of the pay to win players as the Roman citizens.
That's pretty dark, but in a sense.
90%. It was a lot.
Not exact.
Okay, there was a lot.
But...
A lot of fucking people were slaves then.
Gaming is no different, and much like the Huns and Goths who brought low the Romans, it was an outside force which plunged the games industry into its dark age, the smartphone. In 1998, Nokia released their 6110 model of mobile phones.
My dad had this.
The 6110 offered numerous improvements and updates over the earlier Nokia 2110,
yeah.
one of which being the addition of Snake. Snake is a game you've likely heard of, seen, or played.
I think I played this on a friend's phone.
You play as a snake navigating a plane
like back in the day.
Food, and need to maneuver.
This is where it all began, guys. The reason
the mobile gaming market.
Terrible, you're looking at it right now. If they had never put this video game on the phone, we would be playing, every game would be as good as Elden Ring.
Around your ever-lengthening body as you go from point to point. It's a simple little game, something you could play for a few minutes at a time, but its inclusion in the 6110 was one of its most liked features. In line with this, mobile phones going forward would often include short little games similar in scope to Snake. Many of these games were shipped with the phone itself, and while it was possible to download additional games, they were never terribly common or popular. The system, however, would be completely turned on its head in 2007 upon the release of the iPhone.
Isn't it crazy the fact that fucking, like, Steve Jobs and Apple just made this shit? Like, it's insane how much farther ahead the iPhone was than, like, anything else at the time. It was nuts.
The iPhone, and more specifically its App Store, offered users a variety of applications and games for purchase. Much like the iPhone itself, this storefront proved wildly successful. Though it released with only 500 apps, in just 2 years this number increased to well over 100,000, and these apps were downloaded over 2 billion times.
People love this.
Initially, the App Store would sell their games for a one-time, upfront cost. You know, how games were always sold. This business model would eventually be expanded in 2009 to give App Store
bunch of wasted money.
Exciting ways of making money.
Exciting.
The biggest addition were in-app purchases, a system we would now call microtransactions.
Ooh.
While many apps made ungodly amounts of money off this system, perhaps the most influential...
Because, like, a lot of them would make a lot of money back then because people didn't even really know what it was.
Yep.
Like, yeah, they had no idea.
Iconic game in this landscape is Candy Crush.
Yep.
Candy Crush, released in late 2012, is nothing special as a game. You match 3 pieces of candy in a row to earn points and accomplish objectives. Match 3 titles had been around for some time.
It is satisfying.
Successful entries such as Bejeweled. What sets Candy Crush apart from its peers, however, was its method of monetization: predatory microtransactions. While Candy Crush was free to download, it was seemingly designed to incur, then profit off of addiction. First and foremost, the actual gameplay rewards you at every step, complementing and...
Well, I watched a lot of Train's gambling streams. I watched a lot. And that looks a lot like Dead.
Yep.
I mean, it does. I never played this game, so I had no idea. But damn. Like, look at this.
First and foremost, the
this
actual
part.
gameplay
I mean,
yeah.
rewards you
come
at every
on.
step, complimenting and praising you for making the right move
That's a
or
duel,
just
yep.
having pieces fall in the right places. You're given dopamine hit after dopamine hit with easy levels until you reach a difficult one you can't quite beat. Candy Crush operates on a life system, and once you run out of lives, you're cut off from the flashy lights and easy dopamine.
Wow.
You can either wait a ridiculous, uncomfortable amount of time until you can get your dopamine fix, or just pay 99 cents for an immediate refill. Both options funnel you into playing, and eventually paying more and more. And it was this Skinner
See,
box...
like, they had this in Bloons. I remember I played Bloons, and you could spend money to redo the last level. And I was like, bro, this is like playing a Super Nintendo game with save state. You're cheating. You're fucking cheating. Now, I would do it if it was on stream, because it would be boring to go through all the levels over and over and over again. Yeah, whatever. So, like, if a streamer does it, it's fine. But, like, am I gonna do this with my own fucking money on my own fucking time? Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. The game was fun.
Design that led to Candy Crush's success.
It's like, yeah, it's like an arcade.
To put it in perspective, Candy Crush alone brought in about $1.1 billion in 2014.
Jesus.
That is a lot of money.
The entire games industry had revenues of $85 billion. A single game
1%.
with a basic art style and simple gameplay loop made up over 1% of the games industry.
That's sad.
All because it had an unbelievably effective microtransaction system.
Over 9 million.
This runaway success told the games industry two things. First of all, video games were big money, a business venture that could be insanely profitable. This is not.
Wait, hold up. Wait. So Clash of Clans makes $1 million a day, even back then. Like, God, bro, I need to start making one of these mobile games. This is we need to get into this. We need to break into the market.
This is not to say the games industry wasn't already massive.
This was like 2014,
it was raking in tens of billions at the time, but it put into perspective
Maybe
just
earlier.
How much money you can make off of games. Second, a game doesn't have to be good in the traditional sense to be profitable. Making a game that is legit.
That's always been true, though.
Enjoyable doesn't have to be a prerequisite for success.
In a sense, but it makes it like way more likely that it will be a success. Like Halo, if it wasn't as good as it is, we would not be even talking about Halo to this day.
No. It just has to have the right mechanisms to fleece people of their money and have them come back for more. It was around this time period of the early to mid-2010s that you began to see the exportation of this philosophy from the mobile market to gaming as a whole.
Yep.
It's this philosophy which treats games more as a dry business just to make money, rather than an earnest form of art and escapism, that led to this slow decline of gaming.
Yeah, that's what's happened with every fucking media. That's just how it goes. You get the people with
Yep.
a lot of money that get in charge, and then that's the way it is.
For anyone who's paid even a modicum of attention to the broader games industry over the past few years, you'd find it mired in scandals, mediocrity, and disappointment. The reason for this goes back to the philosophy shift mentioned earlier. Games aren't being made to be enjoyed, but to make money.
Yeah.
It's this hard shift in priorities that has just gutted the soul of gaming, and replaced it with flowcharts, focus groups, and
well, it's also that people don't actually quit the games whenever the games are bad. Because if people actually stopped playing the games, people would stop doing this. These companies would stop doing it. But people keep buying the battle passes. They keep playing the gotchas.
Exactly.
It's the consumer's fucking fault. Because they're the ones that are giving the company the money. The
Absolutely.
Like, hey, we just want to make money. And the consumers are like, well, I want to get farmed for fucking money.
New projections.
Victim blaming?
Take, for example, the explosive growth in microtransactions over the past decade or so.
Yep.
Modern games are often replete with issues such as slow progression, unbalanced gameplay, or a lack of content. This isn't a mistake. These issues are introduced on purpose, with the only way to overcome them being...
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the things he's talking about is things they're doing to established IPs that already built a reputation for being good. You can't just come out with a game that has no IP and do all these things and expect it to go well. I'm trying to think of a single game that does it, and nothing's coming to mind. Lost Ark, in a sense, but at the same time, Lost Ark has an insanely good gameplay, like core gameplay. I just don't believe it would have anywhere near the success it does if it didn't at least have that. I think that's what's carrying Lost Ark to this day. That and like dungeons are incredibly well designed. Like there's a lot about Lost Ark is just amazing. But you know, it has like pay to win stuff. But like Star Wars and stuff, like imagine they came out with a game that wasn't Star Wars that had all these things. Like the game would die on like day one.
Being microtransactions.
Oh, exactly. Like whenever you have pay for convenience features in a game, all you're doing is you're paying the developer to make the game inconvenient.
Yep.
Because if the game was convenient, then you would never pay for the convenience features. So they make it inconvenient on purpose to make you have to pay for them.
It doesn't matter if fair systems are dropped for a less engaging gameplay loop. It doesn't matter if microtransactions prioritize the size of your bank.
Nah, this is inaccurate. It costs $110,000 to fully gear up in Diablo Immortal. No, it costs $110,000 to fully gear up in a Diablo Immortal season.
As bad as that sounds, that's true. Yeah.
That's it.
Bank account rather than in-game skill. It doesn't matter if microtransactions have led to some of the most addictive, predatory systems imaginable. Microtransactions make an incomprehensible amount of money. That's the only.
I don't know why people get all fucking up in their feelings about game companies do this, man. You have these people that are making like shoes using slave labor in third world countries. You're gonna talk to me about microtransactions and about how fucking, oh my god, I can't believe these companies are doing this. They're gonna do anything that they can to make money. That's why you have to have
if it's legal,
to make sure they don't fucking do that. Because if they didn't, then they'd just still be doing it. You said that yesterday. I did, because people won't fucking listen. Makes me mad. Whataboutism, what a great argument. No, what I'm saying is, like, if you get mad at these companies for doing it, people have been mad at Nike and Adidas and Apple for this shit forever, right?
They still buy the
About
shoes.
them using like third world labor and this kind of stuff.
And those shoes are still like the most hottest brands out there, so it's, yeah.
Yeah, so like, are they still doing it? Oh, man, ain't that something? Yeah, that's crazy, because it doesn't matter if you get mad. Like, it's not like if you get, this isn't like Beetlejuice where like you say it 3 times and he appears. You say microtransactions bad 3 times, they go away. Bro, if you get 100,000 likes on a tweet that says that Nike is bad, that tweet is no longer relevant in 3 days. And Nike still sells shoes.
Yep.
They're still gonna buy it. That's and you might not like it, but that's what it is. Without third world labor, Nikes that cost $1,000, people will complain about the price. Good, bro. You don't need that shit. The Nike one.
Dude, it's a shoe. Why would it cost $1,000? It's a freaking shoe.
The fuck you need like some weird ass shit printed on your shoe? What do you need, like air bubbles and like 3 different levels of padding for you to walk around your own fucking house and walk to Burger King? You don't need that. Just buy a normal pair of fucking shoes. You're not in the NBA. Settle down.
Yep.
Reason they're so prevalent.
Oh, and by the way, half the shoes are $1,000 anyway now.
It's more important that their septuagenarian shareholders see a 15% APY than actually give their customer base a semi-decent product. Outside of making games with these predatory, money-first systems, modern games are often released in a broken and buggy state. The recent poster child of incomplete garbage is none other than Saints Row.
Oh, that one.
Aside from having some genuinely cringe-inducing writing and gameplay that's boring too.
Yeah, from what I understand though, with Saints Row, like it was just a cash grab. Like they did like little to no work and just released it anyways.
Hours in, the game just does not function.
That's a problem.
Pull up literally any full-length review, and you'll see a deluge of bugs, glitches, and broken features in this game.
Jesus.
Saints Row isn't an outlier in this regard either. You had Battlefield 2042 last year, and Cyberpunk 2077 the year before that.
Both. I mean, I see why he didn't start out with these two, because both of them have been really fixed. I'm pretty sure Battlefield, I'm not sure on that one, I should have said. But Cyberpunk definitely is just completely fixed. Not completely, there's still like little bugs, but man, it is so much better.
Well, I mean, New World was a shit show on release. And I realized that New World was actually a very entertaining game, but it only became entertaining if you included the dupes and the hacking in the game as part of the entertainment value the game provided.
Yeah,
so
that's
if
fair.
You included the duping into the game, and it's like, this is part of why it's fun, then it became a good game. But if you wanted to play a normal game, New World was not the game for you.
Both incredibly hyped games that should not have shipped in the state they were in. The people at the helm, and more specifically the publishers, just stopped caring. They knew a bunch of gullible saps and stupid teens would drop $60 on their latest shitfest, so why even bother? Worst of all, if a game totally flops, many of these studios and publishers are so large they can just eat the losses, shelve their broken game, and move on to...
Well, it's because the production studio, like, they...
And also, he's wrong on this. If they keep doing it, eventually they're going to burn the goodwill that they had. It's like I was saying, they only do this with established IPs that have a lot of goodwill. Just because it wouldn't fly in like a game that didn't. That's just how it is. Like even Lost Ark. Like a lot of people say it's because they released so much content so quickly that they're okay with it being kind of money hungry, because at least they feel like their money's being put to good use. But like for example, the Star Wars like Battlefront, like I know a lot of people who just don't really want to play Battlefield games anymore. Period. Like after the crap they pulled.
Their name doesn't get dragged through the mud. It's the people that make the game who get dragged through the mud, even though they're not the ones that made a timeline that's unrealistic. So that's why production teams keep doing this, because they don't lose. So the moment that they kill a company's reputation, it's like a leech, right? As soon as you suck all the blood out of one of them, you just go to the next one.
Yep.
It doesn't matter what happens to them.
The next lazily made entry. Finally, this corporatized, business-centric approach to game development has just killed any passion and vision within the larger industry. Rather than...
Well, you don't know that. I have a feeling you're not in that industry, so it's hard for me to believe you when you would have no idea. Like, unless you had, like, actual developers coming out and saying it.
Prioritizing player experience and creating new IPs, game developers are more preoccupied with garbage sequels, unnecessary remakes, and shameless trend chasing. For me, the epitome...
I'm gonna be honest. I love Warzone as a BR, and I think Warzone is very much a transcendent BR that added a lot of new things into the game. The Gulag was a great innovation on the BR genre, and I also thought that, though I feel like the gameplay of Warzone was really good. Like, it was as good as Fortnite, and it was realistic. So, like, for people that didn't like the way that Fortnite was, they didn't like Apex Legends, like, you know, Futurism either, like, Warzone was your fucking game. And on top of that, they had the buyouts and, like, the spending money, like, you can buy...
Yeah, I don't know what he's taught. Like, I'm agreeing with Asman here in that, okay, so you didn't like Fortnite, you can go to Apex. You don't like Apex, you can go to Warzone. This tells me that they weren't just copy and pasting. They were putting their own flair to the things. So you can follow a trend and still be, like, your own game.
Different things. I really thought Warzone was a great fucking game. I don't like this idea. Like, people make it like, oh, it's so popular to hate on BRs.
I haven't played it, so I don't know.
BRs. They're fun. Fuck that.
The epitome of this visionless, trend-chasing game development has been the new Halo trilogy. I use the term trilogy loosely here, as the stories in each game have little to do with each other and are all pretty mediocre in their own right. Outside of this lackluster writing, every new Halo aped mechanics from other popular games, presumably because money. 4 has score streaks and loadouts, 5 has pay-to-win loot boxes, and Infinite has a live service season pass that's so barren and devoid of content, it's genuinely shocking.
Yeah, it's crazy how, like, the thing is, battle passes, I feel like these companies, they just
I don't think they understand
battle passes.
Yeah.
There's nothing even that good out of some of them.
One of the most groundbreaking, influential, and just plain fun series ever created was utterly castrated by out-of-touch, money-first suits.
Yep.
Most tragically of all, this fate has fallen countless other IPs and series, all reduced to shells of their former selves by visionless hacks and unoriginal frauds.
I think that so much of it is that, like, for example, a lot of companies, they get stuck having to make the same game because this is what the executive leadership want them to do. And that's kind of what happened with Bungie and Halo, is that Halo 3, what was the slogan for Halo 3? Finish the fight. That's the end of the fucking game. And that's the end of the... that's it. Like, you have Halo 1, 2, 3, the shit's over. Then they make Halo Reach because Microsoft
ODST
was like, oh,
too.
you got another one in you. You got to do another one. And then they did, and then they moved off of Halo. ODST, yeah, but that was a kind of an offshoot. Like, I feel like that was not as much of a Halo game. But you're right.
That's true.
Like, they did have ODST, and then they had Halo Wars as well. Like, I did not forget that. But my point is that I feel like sometimes development studios feel like they have to continue an IP past the point where it needs to be continued. I'll give you an example for a movie. Zoolander 2. Nobody needed Zoolander 2. Nobody asked for Zoolander 2. Nobody wanted Zoolander 2. It was fine. The Matrix is another great example. In my opinion, The Matrix could have been fine as one movie. Matrix Reloaded, Matrix Revolutions had a lot of really fucking badass scenes and some kind of cool, philosophical fucking, sci-fi stuff. It was pretty interesting, right? So I'll give it a pass. But like, even the Matrix trilogy is pushing it. Then you make another one. What the fuck? Come on.
Yeah.
The AAA games industry has fundamentally regressed.
That's what I think happens. It's like,
priorities totally misaligned
they
with
end
the
up
point
having
of gaming.
to do the same shit.
And unfortunately, it's a situation that I don't see changing anytime soon. It's blatantly obvious that money is the biggest, if not single motivating factor in making games nowadays.
Well, it always was. If they were...
Yeah, it's why arcade machines, like when it was a thing to make it hard so you spend more coins, it's always been that way.
If they weren't able to make enough money with developing a game, then they wouldn't be able to do it because they couldn't pay anybody to keep the lights on. But
yeah,
I think it's about like what level of gratuitous income to appease stockholders is enough. And I know the answer to that.
Never.
The answer is always, what's enough? More than this.
And if that's the industry's goal, then they're certainly succeeding. There's no longer a major incentive to make the industry's goal, then they're certain.
Make up 80. What the fuck? Microtransactions make up 88% of digital game spending?
But I'm also like, he's including mobile on this. I have no doubt. Like, to me, this only makes sense if you include mobile. If you don't, it'd probably drop down to like 30-ish%.
Yeah, no fucking shit they have these in the game. It makes sense.
Succeeding. There's no longer a major incentive.
Because a lot of mobile games are free, so the way they make their money is through in-app microtransactions.
To make interesting or good games, when you can just copy-paste total schlock every year and still make billions.
No, they've been doing this
You can
forever.
vote with your wallet to change things, sure. But the next whale they catch completely cancels out whatever difference you might have made.
That's one thing to keep in mind is like, like whenever you go to vote, your vote counts as one and somebody else's vote counts as one, right? Theoretically, let's not make this political, guys. Your vote is one, their vote is one. In a perfect world. In a video game, that's not how it works. Is that a guy that spends $30,000 just voted 30,000 times. And a guy that only spent $10 only voted 10 times. And think about how many people need to not spend that money to equal one $30,000 vote. That's a lot.
Furthermore, the AAA games industry has largely consolidated under a select few major corporations and studios.
Yeah.
This, coupled with the increasing barriers to entry due to technological advancement, means there's little reason for innovation and few grounds for competition.
Goes against that, though, which is
the whole of AAA gaming. It just becomes.
There's incentive to go for innovation. The problem is it's a gamble. It's not a guarantee you would make money out of it. Just how it is, like Minecraft and stuff like that.
Stale and sad, and out of touch ghouls like Phil.
Even the Battle Royale was a gamble. Like, there was no way to know if like it would actually really pop off. Especially no way to know if it popped off to the way it did.
Spencer and Andrew Wilson are perfectly fine with that. I mentioned at the beginning that I discussed what should be done.
This guy is very, very salty.
Industry's dismal state, and I feel the best option for gamers is nothing. The modern games industry.
No, the problem is, as an individual, there's nothing you can do. Absolutely. The most you can do is to try to limit the spending on games that you feel are taking it too far. That's the most morally you can do. And if you see someone running for a position of political power that seems to know a bit about technology, try to vote for them. That's about it.
I think that's true. In my opinion, I think what you need to do is you need to push things to their most logical outcome, right? Accelerationism. Just push it as far as it can possibly get. It's like, in order to wear both shoes in FIFA, you have to pay an extra $3 a week in order to, use your Nikes or something like that, or Adidas. And if you don't, then you're wearing flip-flops, and Messi doesn't run that fast when he's wearing flip-flops, and, it's like a big thing. And so just do that. Make it as disgusting, as shameless. Just have advertisements for gambling for kids. You know, let's have pragmatic. Let's just have them make a video game. How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, shit.
At this point is a joke. I think by now this should be fairly obvious. Huge conglomerates just push out unoriginal, unenjoyable, and or incomplete titles year after year.
For kids.
Yet are able to bank off of microtransactions and a lazy consumer base.
A slots tournament.
Unless CEOs actually start caring about art outside of money laundering, or if predatory microtransactions get regulated into oblivion, I highly doubt there will be any major changes in the industry.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. But that's kind of always been the case. Like, regulation is unfortunately like a necessary evil for these kind of things, because corporations will take it as far as they can take it.
So why bother with it at that point? It's better to avoid this
I feel like the majority of microtransactions that, like, the majority of bad ones, like, I don't think that you should, by force of law, tell somebody that they can't buy a microtransaction. I think that's silly. However, I do think that if you spend money on a video game, you should know exactly what you get. There should never be a chance that you get something and then maybe you don't. There should never, ever be a situation where you go from I'm getting something and then now I'm not. And it's like, you see what I'm saying? Like, oh, maybe I'm going to roll this. Like, no gotcha.
I see what he's,
yeah. Why not? The why not is because it simulates gambling. It simulates gambling. Video games primarily are marketed towards adolescents and children.
Yep. Even if it's marketed to adults, there is regulation in the gambling industry. And I would say in every state in America. And I would say even in countries that, have gambling, like, they also are regulated. So to think that, it doesn't need regulation is just crazy to me. Because one, it is also targeted at kids, but also even like normal gambling that's targeted at adults is regulated.
Majority of them are. If you go look at like the top,
like, I don't know, I know a lot of people don't know this, but a lot of casinos, at least in America, or I should say maybe Las Vegas, because that's the one I'm familiar with, is you can't be below a certain win rate for your slot machines. You could be fined for it.
Top 100 highest grossing games, over half of them are marketed towards kids, and over 80% of those have loot boxes. Come on. Call it what it is. Make them 18 plus only. Yeah, sure. I would be fine if they made them 18 plus only. I think that's okay.
Constant deluge of disappointment.
Source, trust me, bro. Are you really gonna argue with me about numbers?
That's his favorite thing.
You're gonna argue with me that you think that...
I think my volume has been low. I am sorry.
I don't remember what a number was. Look it up.
Hope COD 37 will be marginally better than its predecessors. Instead, rather than deal with the cultural void that is the modern games industry, just go back to that golden age. A friend of mine remarked that it's sad some of the best games ever have already been made. And while this is pretty accurate, it's also true.
Not. It's absolutely not. I think that how most of the best video games most likely ever exist. Yeah, they were saying this before Elden Ring came out and God of War, and then once those games came out, especially Elden Ring, they realized how wrong this statement is. Look at when it was said. Actually, no, Elden Ring should have already come out by this time, I think. But it's still like they were saying this back in even like 2015.
There are countless excellent titles from back in the day that many of us haven't gotten around to or didn't hear of when they were released. They're games often made with passion, and because you couldn't just patch in fixes back in the day, they're actually complete. Furthermore, strong communities for retro titles are still going strong to this day, be it for speedrunning or just for enthusiasts of a particular series. Alternatively, while AAA publishers and studios have seemingly abandoned passion for green slips of paper.
To be fair, we are going to be fair to Mr. Robert here. He told this as a joke. He told this as a joke at some investor meeting. He wasn't really being serious about this. Right? Like, I mean, the thing is, you can find... Nah, listen to what I'm going to say. you can find 50 things to be mad at Bobby about. 50 things to be mad at this dude about. Why do you have to invent 51? Stick to the reality. Stick to the facts.
Paper, you're much more likely to find well-crafted, lovingly made games from indie studios.
Yeah, true.
From early...
I don't think so. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's focusing on the indie games that are actually good. Like Cuphead and stuff. Maybe even Vampire Survivor in a way. But, like, for every one of those, there's probably, like, honestly, like 100 indie games that are not good. Like, go through Steam's store and you'll find them. Like, games that are just bad. But he doesn't bring it up. Like, that to me is just showing me, like, this guy did, like, no research. Like, he's just going off of, like, oh, like, indie games are good, so I'm going to only look at good indie games and use them as examples.
Classics such as Super Meat Boy and Binding of Isaac, to recent titles like Hades or Ultra Kill, indie games have consistently churned out innovative and engaging games actually worth your time. While there are weird and bad entries in the indie scene, at the very least it's a space that cares about the art of gaming along with their community. Finally, if you absolutely have to play the latest Gears of Halo Theft Auto...
Like, they're not corporate. So, of course, like, even the developers at these AAA studios, they care about the game. A lot of them, I'm sure a lot of them do. Like, developing video games is not easy. So it's like, why would they have, like, devoted themselves to this if they didn't, like, find it, like, you know, have a passion for it? Like, it does, I don't know. I really disagree with this guy's whole mentality on AAA equals bad, indie equals good.
Or Gorbino's Quest. Get it.
I think you could say that about corporate as a whole. Like, I don't like corporate in almost any setting at all. I do think they serve a purpose, but in general, I think almost always they do more harm than good.
At a discount. Or, at
least to a
discount.
brand.
All in all, even if the modern games industry is in its dark age, it doesn't mean gaming has to be. There are more than enough excellent games.
No, I think there's a lot of... yeah, I don't know if I get that one, but I'm not complaining. So here's the thing, right? I think that, yes, obviously gaming, like AAA mainstream gaming is not in a good state right now. Absolutely not. However, there are a lot of games out there that are still really good. There's a lot of people that still put in work. There's a lot of people that still make great content. And it's like you could say the same thing about art, you know? Like, all the best paintings have already been painted. But there's people that become artists every day. I feel like you should not try to... Like, not every game has to be as amazing and as incredible as Super Mario Brothers. Like, y'all remember, like, Super Mario 3 came out. Like, this was, like, maybe, like, 2 or 3 years before my time. But, like, I remember hearing about this. Oh, my God. That game changed... That game was like Halo 2. You know, that shit came out, it changed everything. It was so good, yeah. I was there 3,000 years ago. It was nuts. And so, like, it just... You don't have to be Super Mario Brothers 3.
New and old to play and enjoy. Games that are free of the hollow influence of this once great industry. Thank you so much for watching this video. While I haven't covered gaming content much on this channel, outside of a video on last year's Activision fiasco, it is a topic I am interested in and fairly passionate about. The general state of gaming at present, along with my discontent for it, was something I wanted to discuss, as it's been a perennial issue for years now. I hope you found my perspective on this matter interesting, or at the very least informative. Maybe leave me a little comment with your thoughts on this. With that out of the way, shake hands with the like, hug the subscribe button, and that bell. Until next time, take care.
Alright, what's that? Oh my, Ciggy Snake. Oh, that makes sense, because it's like, yeah. That's clever. I never thought of it like that. It definitely, like, let's be real, like, this video was some fucking doomer shit. Like, this is something, like, you record the script of this video in a room with all the lights off. Like, you don't have any lights on whenever you record this video. Like, that's a fact. And
yeah, that's definitely true. Like, I don't really agree with a lot of what he was saying. I'll be just straight up honest. But I do think because it's a bad situation right now where it's like really good and really bad. It's really bad with the microtransaction situation being unregulated as it is, but it's also really good because gaming as a whole has become much more accepted as a business venture, and therefore there's a lot more developers for it.
Yeah, obviously, people are
like, there may not be as many studios, but back then you only needed like a handful of people to have a studio. Nowadays, it's like, especially like some of the AAA games, if you broke them down like into like a 5-man group, a AAA game could have literally like 100 studios in their one team. So
are fucking pissed off about this game, about gaming in general, about these games. Like, they are, but I mean, I could see why. I really can, because it's like gaming used to be so much different than it is now. I think it used to be so much better in a lot of ways, but in some other ways, it wasn't as good as people remember. There were a lot of games that you would buy, and they would be bad games. Straight up, like, they would just suck dick. And this happened on Super Nintendo.
All the time.
It happened on Nintendo 64.
PlayStation.
It happened on GameCube.
Yep.
A lot of games suck big fat dicks. And you have a survivorship bias that exists where you see a lot of these games and you remember Chrono Trigger, but you don't remember like some bullshit like fishing game that they made back then that nobody liked.
Yep. That's
so
what I was saying.
PS2's
like, it's not just survivorship bias. I mean, it's happening right now. Like, he brings up indie games as if they're this holy grail, but most of them are trash. Like, I'm not like dissing on the developers, but it's like they didn't make a good game. I doubt it was for a lack of passion. More than likely it was a lack of like knowledge, like experience.
Library was largely dog shit. You're right, but PS2's library spanned 10 years, and so whenever you think about it, there were a number of good games. I appreciate more people talking about this, but I do unfortunately agree with him that there's nothing that we can really do as gamers. Like, we can't, we can't fucking rise up. We can't, maybe.
Gamers aren't really the ones for rising up. Sometimes, yes, but I think it's not something that can be done until they take microtransactions too far. Like, sometimes you see it already, like with the Star Wars Battlefront. But other than that, yeah.
Maybe we make enough tweets at Bobby, he'll stop making microtransactions. Just vote with your wallet,
right.
Hope it's regulated. The thing is, like, that's what I was saying about vote with your wallet. Like, you voting with your wallet doesn't mean anything whenever somebody else votes 30,000 times with their wallet instead. Nobody.
Yeah, it's not just voting with your wallet. You just gotta not play those games. Because if those games die, the people who are voting with like the 30 grand, like say Diablo Immortal, they're not going to play the game if they're like no one's wanting to play it with them. Like, they can't show off all their gear and dunk on people if there is no little fishes for the whale to eat.
Nobody's listening. Nobody gives a fuck about you because they don't need to have a bunch of other people. That's just how it goes.
Yep.
People still going to buy it. Yeah, and it's sad, but there it is. I'll read some comments on this, all right? Only has free battle pass and it's gone items in store. Well, I mean, like, wish more devs did this. Yeah, but why would a developer think about it like this, right? Why would a developer make a game that doesn't have gacha in it? Why would they do that? Like, it's their job. It's their career. What if they never make a good game again? What if another game never pops off? What if they, like, that's it? I'll turn it down just a little bit. Just give me a sec. Sure, I think that should be better. I'm not going to buy a good game just because the company sucks is my point. Well, I mean, it depends. The enlightened gamer boycott shit. Another person with 1,000x spending power is a whale in your place. Exactly. Gamers are not the main population who consume games. Average Andy who buy $1 microtransactions are. Exactly. And like, that's the kind of shit that people don't realize is like video game Andys don't realize that. Think about everywhere else in life. Everything else in life is pay to win. You get fucking, you don't look good, you get plastic surgery. You're fat, you can get pay to win, you get that reduced too. You know, you have, Like, let's see, like, in a job, like, you can pay money in some ways, or you can, have, like, some fucking weird relationship with the people that are in charge. Like, life is pay to win.
Yep,
that's the
absolutely.
point. Life is pay to win, fundamentally, in almost all regards. Who are the people that get to park in front of the building? The people that make the most money. Isn't that a fucking surprise? So, people want to step away from that. That's why gaming was like your escape from that.
That in D&D was like
everybody
that too.
starts on the same playing field, everybody's on the same level, and the only thing that you can have in this game is what you can earn. And to be fair, that wasn't really fair either, but it was fair for a different group of people, so they liked it. It's like, you can't really say that's fair whenever one person has 12 hours a day to play.
Yeah, you're never going to get absolute fairness. Well, you could technically, but it would be like a pointless venture.
The other person has one. So, like, there's never a real even playing field, but it just depends on how you define even. However,
exactly.
Now you have people that are, conditioned by life. Oh, fuck, it's another F. We're good? Yeah, okay. Now you have people that are conditioned by real life to be okay with this stuff, because that's how everything else is.
Yeah, that's very true.
So that's the way it goes. How else do they generate funds then? I don't think here's my line.
Like, you don't have to nickel and dime your player base to get enough funds for the game to have been a success. Like, it was true before all the microtransaction stuff. It can be true afterward.
I don't think they should have gambling in games. Period. That's it. I don't think there should be any gambling
100%
in any
agree.
game.
Like, I remember when League of Legends first introduced loot boxes. Like, I remember talking to my friends about it. I'm like, dude, this is just gambling. And like the amount of what's weird is one of them I particularly remember. This dude was like no-lifing League of Legends. Like, he got really pissed off at me. Like, really, really mad at me. And I'm just like, he's like, why should I care about these dumb kids if they get gambling addictions? And that's when it like really hit me, and I'm like, oh, okay, so you literally are like the most selfish person I have ever met, like bar none. Like, I stopped being friends with him after that, because it's just like, dude, like, you don't even care about kids like getting gambling addictions. Like, you just care about your game. Like, you could care less if like anyone's suffering because of it. But unfortunately, like, I think that's going to be the case. Just people just don't care about other people. So
there's no reason for it. It is a net negative for the consumer, and it adds no value.
Yeah.
I also think everything else is okay. I think pay-to-win games are totally fine. I do not believe I have the moral authority by force of law and to try to compel.
Yeah, I don't like the energy systems in games and stuff like that. But yeah, gambling, like loot boxes especially, like basically slot machine behavior should just be completely banned. Like, it should be illegal.
Tell somebody not to make a pay-to-win game. I don't think that I legally have the authority or the right to go and tell somebody they can't make a pay-to-win game.
Yeah,
I feel like that's
exactly.
invading somebody else's liberty, freedom, privacy, whatever you want to call it.
Just like you can't force someone to play that game.
Damn, bro, if you want to buy the best weapon in the game, it better just cost $20, not 20 boxes that are $5. That's it. That's all I'm asking. Streamers need to set the example?
No, they
Nobody
don't.
gives a fuck about a streamer setting the example. What happens
that was
if they pay a streamer $100,000?
statement.
Who the fuck would turn down $100,000 to play a video game? Like, what are you thinking about? But what's going on in your head?
No, the government needs to step in. It's the only way anything actually is going to be done.
Like, yeah, that's it.
So that was gaming isn't fun anymore. I would completely disagree. Gaming is still fun. Maybe he's having less fun with the current games out. Maybe he prefers a simpler gameplay loop. I have no idea. But like, even like his arguments and stuff like that don't really hold any water. Unfortunately, I would have to completely disagree with you, Ciggy Snake. You were only looking at the success cases, and that's it.